morning, grade 4s. Today we are going to do just a little bit of review on decimals and fractions. So over the last few days we've been talking about how we can turn a decimal into a fraction and a fraction back into a decimal. Now this, remember, is most easily done if the fraction is in terms of 100, 1000, or 10. So we're going to go through and we're going to just change a few of these up. We're going to start with this decimal. We have 0.09. So if this is the tenths position, tenth, then this one, the next one, is the hundredths. So if I was going to say this decimal, I would say there are 9 hundredths. And I write that down as a fraction like this, 9 100ths. There we go. We can check and see if anything reduces, but other than that, that's our fraction. Let's try this one. We have our tenths, we have our hundredths, and then we have our thousandths. So this is 381 thousandths over 1,000 because we have 3 places. And then this one just has tenths, so I know my bottom's going to be in tenths. How many tenths? We have 4 of them. Now this one's also a little bit tricky because it has a 1 out front. That means that there's also one whole number, so we can write it like that. And then once again, if we want to, we can see if it reduces. In this case, this one does, because we can divide both of those by 2. We get something that looks like this, 1 and 2/5. So there we go, that's how we change our decimals into fractions. Let's try going the other way now. We have 36 100ths. So that means that my decimal is going to be in the hundredths. I have 2 places here. And what I like to do, and I just like doing this because I think it's a good way to do it, is I fill these places backwards. I put the 6 and then the 3, so now I have 36 hundredths. That way I'm not missing any of my spaces. I'll show you again how I did that. So this one we have 405 1,000ths. So if we're in thousandths, I'm going to have space for 3 because thousandths is the 3rd decimal place. And then I start filling in my numbers backwards. 504 405 thousandths, just like that. And then for 3/10ths, let's make it interesting. Let's say it's 2 wholes in 3/10ths. That time we have this number becoming a 2 here because that's the whole number position. And if we have tenths, we just have 1 place after the decimal, and that's where we put the 3. So we get 2.3. There are our 3 decimals. Now just to sort of make things a little bit more interesting, let's also just relate this back to all the talk we've been having about the metric system. So if you remember, we have a little step ladder that tells us about the metric system. We start with milli, we go to centi, then deci, small one. Then we have the regular unit, so the meter, the gram, the liter, anything like that. Then we have the deca, hepto, and finally we have the, that's hecto. I don't know why I have a P there. Hecto, and finally we have the kilo. So the way we remember this system usually is by thinking about it in terms of numbers and fractions. For example, the decameter means 10 meters fits into a decameter, so that's the same as 10. The hecto means 100. So there's 100 meters in a hectometer. And the kilo means 1,000. There are 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. Now these ones are the tiny ones. These ones that are the ones that mean, oh, in a meter, a decimeter is 1/10 of a meter. A centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. And a millimeter is 1/1000th. It's a super tiny unit there. So all of these we usually represent with fractions, but we can also represent them with their decimal terms. For example, 1/10 is the same as 0.1 because that's in the tenths position. 1/100th is the same as the 0.01. See how there's 2 positions there? That's the hundredths. And the millimeter is the same as 0.